The Biden administration better get ready. There's a perfect storm of resistance that is building, a real weather system, if I can put it that way. And it is coming from three separate storms that are converging together. Now, this is the idea of the perfect storm, right? It's more than one weather system. They kind of join forces, and then you've just got an unbelievable turbulence, a tsunami, or some catastrophic result. Except in this case, the catastrophic result is for the left, and so we love it. This is a good perfect storm as far as we are concerned. I don't know if you saw, Debbie and I saw, I guess about a year ago, the movie The Perfect Storm, directed by Wolfgang Peterson, starring George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Diane Lane. It's about this little ship, the Andrea Gale, that is out fishing, and then it catches the perfect storm, and the results are very bad for the people in the Andrea Gale. Now, let's talk about the perfect storm in politics. There are three elements to it. The first element is the massive mobilization of parents around the country against critical race theory, and basically more broadly against this indoctrination going on in the public schools. You might have seen on social media, Loudoun County, Virginia is a little bit of the vortex of this, and parents recently confronted school board members. The school board members had to call a stop, block the whole proceeding. A couple of parents were even arrested, but you get a feel for what was going on in this short clip. Listen. So you can get the patriotic fervor. What the parents are basically saying is that critical race theory is anti-patriotic. It's an America-hating ideology, and they're totally right. Now, they've come belatedly to this picnic, you'd have to say, but as Debbie mentioned to me as we were sipping our latte, she goes, this is the result of COVID. Because, see, these sneaky leftists have been trying to push this stuff through for a long time. They love the fact that parents had no idea what was going on in the classroom. But now under COVID, when you do this stuff online, suddenly mom can kind of peek and go, wait, what's that? And she realizes that you've got all this vile stuff that is being pushed by the left. This propaganda masquerading as education. Now, the parents are getting really smart, and they are figuring out ways to fight back. There are a couple of parental organizations around the country, and one of their strategies is this. They essentially write to the school board, or they write to the government, and they put in these FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests, demanding to know, to identify critical race theory elements in the school curriculum. They have a right to do this. They're parents, they're taxpayers, they're helping to fund the public school system. But this causes massive convulsions in the school district. And so my message to you out there is, if you want to be part of this movement, you should join it. Because anything that we can do to cause havoc on the other side is very good for us. We don't care if we tie these people up in knots. We don't care if we make it difficult for them to function. Why? Because what they're doing is essentially poisonous. So stopping the poison is the first step. Restoring education is kind of the second step. And the first one is to take the bad guys, take this menagerie of characters and tie them down, lock them up, put them in knots. Now, what's kind of funny is as the parental movement explodes, and it's exploding with groups like Parents Defending Education, which is, by the way, head by a former Wall Street Journal reporter, Asra Nomani. I'm going to invite her to come on this podcast in a week or so. There's Oregonians for Liberty, Educators for Quality and Equality. These are basically all this grassroots mobilization. Great to see. And what's kind of funny is the left taken by surprise. So first they go, well, we're not really doing it. This is kind of funny. I mean, there's actually an article after DeSantis and the Florida legislature outlawed critical race theory in Florida. There's an article in the Miami Herald that says, quote, "The theory is not taught in any Florida school districts." Really? It's not taught. Well, if it's not taught, why would you be concerned about the ban? I mean, think about it this way. I impose a ban on unicorns, but there are no unicorns. Well, the ban is totally harmless. You should be for it. If there are unicorns, in that case, we'll ban them. Since there are no unicorns, you have nothing to worry about. So the left here, when up against the wall, resorts to lies. Their standard tactic. That's the first part of the storm. That's storm number one. Let's talk about storm number two. Voter integrity laws now being introduced all over the country, nearly in all 50 states, but certainly in the swing states. And they're all moving forward. In Michigan recently, the Senate passes legislation to add voter ID requirements. Voter ID requirements for in-person voters as well as absentee voters. All the Senate Republicans, by the way, voted for it. Every Senate Democrat voted against it. So this is a straight-out partisan issue. By the way, current law in Michigan, you don't have to have a photo ID, even when you vote in person. You just have to sign an affidavit saying it's me. I mean, really? Imagine if you could do other things that way. I'm just going to sign an affidavit that it's me. Yeah, let me bank here. I'm going to, what's your name? Winston Churchill. Yeah, I'm going to sign the affidavit. So this wouldn't fly in any other context. But the Democrats wanted to fly in the voting context because why? It enables cheating. But fortunately, now there are movements to fix voter laws in Pennsylvania. Georgia's already passed these laws. Florida has, so has Texas. So a national movement to fix the vote. And again, the idea here is, look, you know, the left keeps saying that there's baseless claims of voter fraud. Well, let's say that we can't prove what happened in November of 2020. We're still going to lock the barn door so that the horse, maybe the horse was or wasn't stolen the last time, but there are other horses in the barn, which is to say there are future elections that are very important for democracy. Let's secure those at least. And so the left is freaking out at this voter integrity movement. This is why they were trying so hard to push H.R. 1. Fortunately, that was, at least for the moment, stopped in its tracks. And then number three, the third part of the storm. Hispanics are waking up, and I predict that Asian Americans will be next. Hispanics are basically figuring out, think about it. They're waking up in the wake of an intense leftist and media campaign. Trump and the Republicans are racist. Trump hates immigrants. The GOP hates Mexicans. So imagine a group that gets a drumbeat of this kind of propaganda, and yet at the end of the day they go, well, you know what? I'm actually going to vote for Trump. I'm actually going to vote for the GOP. A real movement toward the GOP. And by the way, this isn't just the Cubans. This isn't just the Venezuelans. These are the Mexican Americans who are the majority of Hispanics in this country. So I foresee a Republican Party that is a multiracial alliance of whites, 50% plus Hispanics, ideally 70% plus Asians. The Republicans are a long way from that, but they should be able to get that. And then perhaps a minority of African Americans, but nevertheless a multiracial coalition that if you can put this together, and the political tracks are already there to do that, would make the GOP invincible, not just in 2022 and 2024, but also beyond.